This podcast is a member of WGPRN, WildGamesProductions.com. They came from the game table, dice bags in hand.
We have one brain that we share between us.
To talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you like it.
The original, then basic, then one they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D second edition podcast ever.
It's okay. It's all well and good. Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer, Splatbook number 70. Ignore what we just talked about.
We're 70, yeah.
Yes.
We're back.
Me 70. Yes, I missed out on 69, so I missed. So yeah, pretty much I was out of town. So you know, Corey have
reciprocated. We reciprocated the Gamer Nation without you.
Yeah, and so Corey's returning the favor by not showing up for this show. So
wow.
Hey, I'm DM Glen, and wowing is DM Brian.
Hey folks, what's going on? Pay no attention to Glenn. He's a little on the grumpy side tonight.
And DM Full On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. We're back. Did you miss us?
Did you hear the crickets?
Wow. Oh, he's in a rare mood tonight, folks. This should be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about comedy in RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Half our listeners. Okay, turn it off. But anyway, let's go on and hit some crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque Louis Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Okay, Full On, what you been doing? Army stuff, right?
No, actually, I'm on leave.
Oh.
I've been doing motorcycle maintenance stuff and towing vehicles and turning wrenches and fun stuff like that. Plus, you know, rocking out on the Old Republic when I get a chance.
And so they couldn't give you this in earlier last month. Okay. They're
scheduled, organized, blocked when this is allowed to happen, and this is when it's allowed to happen.
Blocked by blockheads. Okay. So how's Old Republic going?
Going good, getting there. You know, still on the downloadable content upgrade packet for Rise of the Hutt Cartel. Gets you up to level 55 if that's your bag. I still have nothing above 50. I don't have anything above 44 because my plan is to keep working on all of my multiple alts and never hit 50 until there's a paid-for box of expansion product out for the Old Republic one of these days.
Okay. See, we're holding ourselves in reserve. So if the enemy attacks like New York City, then we'll go in and...
Yeah, I have a full swarm of like 11 characters to, self-sustain my own economy with. So I'm having fun. I'm playing everything.
You're your own Jedi Council.
Indeed.
How about you, Brian? What's up?
Oh, not too much. We were going to try and do the game tonight, but I can't get a hold of DM Alley, so we decided to do an episode instead. Then, just as I'm about to, just to get things rolling and things like that, these nasty things called thunderstorms come flying through. Mm-hmm. So, and then I fell asleep. Because that's what storms do to me. They put me to sleep.
Corey sat outside casting Call Lightning, Call Lightning, Call Lightning. That's why he's not on the phone right now.
He must have gotten hit.
Yeah, he must have. Those last 5 words of his, I hear more often. And then I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, gaming-wise, I haven't been doing too much. Actually, Corey and I have been doing a little bit of, how should I say this, artistic interaction, because I have a bunch of characters that I have fully written concepts for and things like that, but I have no art that really leaps out at me and says, hey, this is what this character looks like. So I've been, talking to Corey for some time about actually having him do some artwork for me, and he actually did some for me last week, and it's excellent.
Very nice.
Yep.
Funny you should say about artistic interaction.
Mm-hmm.
My week's been filled a bit with that. First off, I come to the pleasant surprise that Vince and I have been nominated for an Emmy for Best Free Game for Mazes and Perils.
Mm-hmm.
Vince proceeded to tell me he's not going because he can't afford it. So we'll have to designate somebody to pick that up for us if we win.
Well, I do live about 4 hours roughly northeast of Indianapolis, so if bad comes to worse, let me know.
Well, I'm thinking of doing it myself.
Okay.
But I can pick you up.
I'll meet you there because, all roads lead to Indianapolis on this side of the country.
It can be a ride from the airport or something.
That's true. All this fuss and bother about me not wanting to go to Gen Con, but actually I have an ulterior motive. This way I miss a wedding in my family that I really don't want to go to.
Yep, ulterior motive for sure.
Yeah, I told Becky, hey, if we lose, I'm there. Which I'm not giving anybody incentive to let us lose, but anyway, let's see what else. My DM Matt in the basic game ran us through his Mines of Valdhoom on his world, and his
Mines of Valdhoom.
Valdhoom.
It just sounds like it needed to be said that way.
Okay. Well, and that's where we went up against the Green Dragon and took him out. But he's decided to write that up, and he is going to be publishing it through like Drive-Thru RPG or RPG Now or one of those places as a PDF. And yours truly is going to be illustrating the whole thing.
Awesome. That's a good way to get your name out there.
It's a paid gig.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Let's see. Gaming-wise, I'm writing a Tunnels and Trolls adventure for whoever wants to play it, probably the grandkids or my group if I can get them, because we all want to sit down and learn this. And that's coming along rather well. I was in Corpus Christi last week, of course, and I went to Half Price Books there and picked up 3 Champions books for 4th edition. Classic Enemies, Classic Organizations, and Champions Universe now have no excuse not to run Champions for Gage.
Aside from never mind. Let's not even go down there.
It's always been, I don't have any villains, and I can't think any up and write them up. And I was like, Grandpa, now you got villains. And let me tell you, it's been a long time since I read 4th edition hero stuff. And stuff. I forgot they take typos to a whole new level. I was reading around the most. I thought they left that behind with like 2nd or 3rd edition. Oh no! It's like, it was just unbelievable. That's all. And my basic D&D game is going good. He's ramping up the stuff. It's getting harder. Ran into 6 Bargdas that just 6 Bargdas that just about handed us our asses.
What level are you guys now?
Average 10.
Okay, that's about fair. Bargdas are very tough opponents.
Oh yeah, we had 1 death and resurrection.
Oh, let me guess. The Bargda looked at him and he failed to save, right?
No.
Just beat him to death.
He rolled good and he just beat the crap out of him.
Wow.
Do they have I forget, do they have a stare?
Yes, they do. They're so ugly that if you lay your eyes on them, you have to save versus whatever or die.
Oh, he didn't play that. But he sure played those poison teeth.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's like between that and beaten to death, yeah, he was gone, but it's like it was one of the clerics. It's like, okay, I'm going to raise dead fully on you. So we had a scroll of raise dead fully. You get up and then you go heal him, and you heal him. I was down like 2/3 of my points.
Wow. Yeah, they're tough. They're tough and they deal out a lot of damage.
They're tough mofos. They really are.
Yes, sir.
Man, we hit a trap. This is lovely. We hit a trap that the thief was not able to disarm. In fact, it went off as she was disarming it.
Really?
Yes. Vials. Hey, Corey. We also have
What's up, guys?
We also have DM.
How come?
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Anyway, the vials of acid fell down on all of us. And
Ouch.
the only person who didn't have all magic stuff was me. He kept thinking, okay, who has non-magic armor? Raise your hand. Okay, you're now AC 9. Okay, who has backpacks? Okay, they're gone. Everything's all over the floor. Who has non-magical weapon? He was just going down the line and never raised my hand. I said, what's with you? He says, +1 armor, 3 +1 weapons, +1 arrows, and my non-magic stuff is in my bag of holding.
Protected.
Yeah, but is your quiver magical?
I didn't have a quiver.
Well, then how are you carrying all those arrows?
In my bag of holding.
How do you reference them during a battle?
It's tricky.
Very carefully, I would hope.
And Mike,
See, I have done the devastating rain of fire, acid, et cetera, stuff to destroy people's gear and equipment, and we can go a whole friggin' podcast on that subject alone, how to deal with item saves and people's gear and stuff. But you don't just arbitrarily say, and your stuff's all over the floor. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but there's ways to be a little bit more. That's one of the few times to go a little bit more into the weeds, I think, just to be fair.
Be more circumspect.
But the last room we came into was an armory.
So you ended up getting stuff
But
back.
it was a dwarven armor.
So the human barbarian's wearing a chainmail half shirt from the 70s.
Quarter shirt.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, Voltoon Minds, I'm doing the artwork on this, and he wants to publish it. We disarmed, we avoided one of his traps during the play of this, but I read the trap, and I saw what he was doing to us, and I'm going, there is no way in hell I can come up with these kind of intricate traps that he comes up with.
Well, there are just some DMs who enjoy doing this.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
those guys are terrible.
Quiet.
What?
I still want people at my table. Hush.
Yeah.
So hey, Corey, what you been doing?
I've been drawing. Drawing a lot. Yeah, I drew Brian's character that he asked me to draw for him, and I think he liked it.
Yeah. I think I used the word awesome sauce.
Yeah, I've never heard you use that word before. That was pretty impressive.
Well, hey, it suited the moment. Oh, by the way, you should check your email inbox. I have another one for you.
I did. He's already blue penciled. I'm working on him.
Oh, jeez. This wasted no time. I like this.
Well, yeah, other than that, I haven't been playing a lot. Didn't play last week, and working.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and I'm rewriting my campaign world, trying to do some edits and upgrades, and then I think I'm actually going to buy a bunch of hardback covers for all my players for Christmas.
Aw, Corey.
That way they can't say, you don't have that written down. Yeah, I do. Here you go, page 76, bite me.
Got
By
those
the way,
kind of players.
Corey, you missed it, but I found out today that Vince and I are nominated for an Annie for Mazes and Perils.
Very cool.
Best free game.
That's cool.
Yeah, totally out of left field. We didn't even know we were nominated, they did it anyway. So we'll find out what's going on. But that is very cool. All right, do we have any emails?
Oh, we've got emails. We ran through a bunch of them last episode.
This is a courtesy ask. Yes, I know we have emails.
I know, rhetorical question. I know.
Rhetorical.
Okay.
We missed you last week, Glenn.
I know. I'm sorry. I was in Corpus dealing with grandkids and reading Champions books.
That's cool. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, Brian. Go ahead.
No. It's no big deal. It gives me a minute to kind of figure out which one we can do. Okay. Yeah.
More than one.
Yeah. Of course. Well, yeah, we got time. Sure. Okay. Got one from an actual text email from DM Kojo. Believe it or not. Yeah. Yes. Once again, like we said last episode, Glenn, Kojo's like the sixth Beatle after you, me, full on Corey, and Bad Mike.
Right.
He's number 6 on the list. Okay. He says, "Hi guys, I wanted to write in and ask. Oh God, what is wrong with me? Okay, take 2. Hi guys, I wanted to write in and ask how you handle experience points for treasure. In first edition, XP was given out for treasure collected, but second edition dropped this except for the rogue class, which gets 2 XP per gold piece value of treasure obtained. I don't handle it this way because I felt it didn't make much sense. I am at the end of the first leg of our campaign, and it's time to award final XP, and I'm torn on how to do this. I've been always told in the past that the 2 XP tables for each class reflected not getting XP for treasure. You're right. When I actually sat down and compared the 2 players' handbooks, I found the XP for level advancement for most classes is not that far off from the 1E game where XP which was much more liberally handed out.
Right.
So it seems that without XP for treasure, it will take much longer for 2E classes to level up when compared to their 1E counterparts. Any light you can shed on this is much appreciated. Thanks.
Yes! XP for treasure is a staple of 2E still. You are advised as a game master to meter that, not just like a 1-for-1 gold piece equals XP value, but, kind of take a little bit of forethought and judgment as to how much risk reward there was for what level they were when they encountered whatever they did to get the treasure, and how much effort there was involved in getting the treasure. You can go for as little as a 1/10 per 1, or half for 1, or 2 to 1, or 1 to 1, or even 1 to 5 if it was exceptionally dramatic. You can go whichever direction you want with that, and just make it a arbitrary part of the award. When it comes to the value of things, it's not just straight the raw gold piece value. You could use the XP value of the magic item, or you could use the gold piece value of the magic item, especially if it's going to be something that's just converted into cash for the party fund, as opposed to something that's going to be put into play and used by a party member. Usually that becomes either a individual XP award for the individual who's going to be using it, or it's a XP award spread across the party as it's something contributing to the health and welfare of the whole party. At least that's the way I run things.
Okay.
See it on my XP sheets that are uploadable and downloadable in the library.
Yep.
Okay. At osrgaming.org. Okay, Corey. How do you feel about that?
Oh, Corey. Is he
Corey,
here?
man.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was pondering. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I go the same. I go the same route usually with DM full on as far as XP value, but what I like to do is not every single magic item is going to give XP bonus as well as gold piece value, especially if it's turning into trash.
As well as it's or. That's an or thing. That's definitely an or thing, not an as.
Right. What I will do if a player actually takes the time and focuses on his actual character building and his Conan, we know that he uses the fish sword. Thundar uses the light sword. There's iconic weapons that go with iconic characters, and if my players actually start going, my guy really loves this 2-handed bastard sword that he stole from the Orc King when they went in and slew him. I know it's magical. He knows it's magical, but he doesn't know what it does. Well, he says he's not going to eat and spend money in town. He's going to save his money because he wants to buy some pearls so he can go to that sage and get it identified. If a character puts forth that much effort, and I can slowly start feeding them the abilities of a magic item without them going, can I just write it down? Can you just tell me what the magic abilities are, and then you can tell me which ones I discover? If the character actually puts forth the effort to make it more of a role-playing aspect to it, I'll give them XP value per power. So if the full XP value of the item is, say, 1/5 of the GP value, I'll actually go, okay, so you get 20,000, and there's 3 or 4 powers on the sword. Well, I just found a writing underneath a leather wrap. I'm going to say it. Oh, just shot a fireball at the tip. Okay, well, there's one of the 4 powers. I'll give them 1/4 of the XP value instead of just going, well, here's all of it. Well, you shouldn't have all of it because you don't know what it all does. So I understand you go with the experience for gaining the item. I go by experience for knowing and learning the item. So I do mine that way. But it's not like, oh, +1 sword. Okay, I want to figure out what it's a +1 sword. What else does it do? It cuts things.
Swing it at something and find out.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to put forth effort to get the XP value out of me. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
Okay, with me, I pretty much do it by 2nd edition as written rules because there are some options there, but I am more into players actually not only running their classes as they should, as proper, but also but I'll give XP out for role playing and things like that. I focus more on that. I use the class XP, I use them religiously. In my experience in playing second edition for 26 years now. Not 26, 24 years. That if you go by individual class XP and give them story XP and things like that, their advancement is almost as fast as if it was by 1E rules. Almost. Not quite, but almost. Because, as we all know, 1E gives out XP for, 4 gold pieces found, and also for magic items. And, that also forced kind of DMs who wanted to, quote unquote, control their character's advancement to kind of be skinflints, at least in my experience playing 1E. But, at least with this, it's sort of like, okay, take those 2 items off the table and, okay, play your character. You have a personality for your character, play that. I'll put you into situations where I expect you to play your character as you wrote it, unless for mitigating circumstances. So, if you want XP aside from killing monsters, play your character, and that's just how I do it. Glenn.
Okay. What was the question again?
How do you deal with treasure XP?
Oh, how do I do with treasure XP? Well, as much as I don't like giving out XP for treasure, I do it anyway. I'm Mr. flat rate XP because it's easier for me to deal with that way. But what I like to do, if I have to deal with it that way and I want to figure it out, I pull out Swords and Wizardry and use their random horde tables in the back where you can do 5,000 gold piece trade outs for magic and things like that, 10,000 gold piece, etc., etc. And that makes it a lot easier. That way I can actually work that into the flat rate. Okay, they get half of this and this magic item, or they get 2/3 of this and these 2 magic items, or something like that. And then I can figure out the XP, so at the end I can just go, okay, you get that, you get that, you get that. And then I can, anything on top of that, that's what I can freestyle it, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And go, okay, you did that, I'll give you an extra 200, EP or something.
Yeah, you do, you are the fan of winging it out of the 4 of us. I mean,
yeah,
flying and DMing completely by the seat of your pants, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I try, but I'll tell you, figuring XP is probably the biggest pain in the ass in my DM world. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's the way I like to do. And thank you, Kojo.
Yep, thank you, Kojo, and keep it coming. We do have a voicemail by him, but we don't want too much Kojo in one episode.
Yeah, break out in a rash or something.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey. He only lives maybe about an hour and a half from me. Watch that.
I know, but he's like the ghost chili of emails. Not too, just a little bit, and
just comes back to haunt you, so to speak.
It sure does. What else we got?
Okay, as that goes in the archive, we have a new emailer to the show. I think this is how his name is pronounced, but I'm going to use his screen name that he uses. It's Ivanka.
Hi, Ivanka.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he says.
Is that a he Ivanka or she Ivanka?
I think it's a he, considering his real name.
Okay, we'll get a big old correction if it ain't.
Well, I severely doubt, but I don't know too many females whose first name is Claude. He's actually
a woman jerk.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm not going there. Okay, he says, I discovered your podcast recently and I can't stop listening. Great stuff, and mostly what I prefer is the structure, meaning the segments we do. the theme segments, and he really likes that.
I'll bet you stopped listening after about an hour and a half.
Yeah, apparently not. He only sent this email 5 days ago.
Wow.
So yeah. Gift horse, Glenn. Don't look it in the mouth.
Yeah, we've got like 4 people trying to mainline the entire podcast series at the same time. So
that's all right.
Archive,
it's good traffic. Good traffic.
Yeah, archive overload. Yeah.
Hey.
Woohoo!
It's their synapses they're frying, not mine.
I came out of my room 3 days after listening to all of THACO's Hammer. My God.
Dude,
a wiser individual, there you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Now go forth and DM, yes.
Better player, better DM, that's right.
Yeah.
And this is the funny part, because this is his next sentence. He says, "While I'm not a D&D player or a DM, not because I don't like D&D, but mostly because I played a homemade game with my friends for 20 years or so now. I love fantasy in all its forms, RPG, Magic the Gathering." Okay, you're forgiven for that, because you listen to us and you like us. Novels, movies, music, comic books, and I'm inspired by guys like you who take the time to share their gaming experience and passion with everyone. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yes, and you're welcome. So here's my question, if you don't mind it being generic and not specifically D&D oriented. Well, this happens in almost every RPG, Claude, so don't worry about it. What do you do when the players always tend to go their own way and do their own stuff, mostly because none of them act as leader and almost everybody is a strong head? Corey?
We beat them up.
Claude, are you sitting at my D&D table? Have you...
Yep.
8 months.
Yep.
Wow.
I read this email and I'm like, Corey's going through this right now. Okay, he continues. He says, wait, let me finish.
More.
You almost choked him, Brian.
Yeah, wait, there's more.
Yeah, exactly. I would really like to let them have as much liberty as possible, let them role play and do side quests as often as they want, but sometimes it seems like I can't control them enough to play as a team and not just single characters that are grouped for a brief moment. Just to make this clear, the players are good players. They don't do this to sabotage the game. It's just their way. And if I could clone myself to make them play 4 individual games, I'd do it. But I don't have the time to play together as a group. And to play together as a group is way more fun than to play one-on-one. As an example, they go into a tunnel where a treasure is hidden, but they don't find it, and they understand that they don't have enough info, and the treasure is too well guarded and hidden. They decide to return to the town to gather more info and XP, but one of them always wants to return alone without the others to know about it. The problem is that I can't let him go in there alone. It would be like a 5 to 6 hour session to discover this treasure, so what do I do with the other 2? I can't DM 2 games in one. Arrgh!
Let him go alone, let him get picked up by the phase spiders and webbed to the wall, and everyone else has to go rescue him. End of story, 10 minutes in. Next.
Yeah.
What?
I would prefer any solution that is not to speak to them outside the game and tell them to follow the trail. I'd really like to bring their players naturally into my quest and be subtle about it. Thanks very much and keep up the great work, Ivanka.
Go, Corey.
Yeah, Corey. Let it out, Corey.
Thought you're going to have a brain.
Well, Ivanka, first thing I have to ask you a couple of things before I know exactly what you're doing. First of all, your players, they're all friends outside of the game, so they're not in it, like, they're not purposely backstabbing each other by, I'm going to get the treasure by myself, unless they're playing their characters. Secondly, as far as what you can do, what you need, first thing I'd ask you, or ask the players is, do they have backgrounds? Do they have a place where they're from? Are any of them running from anybody? If they have a common villain, they have something to tie them together. If they're all being hunted by the same king, whether it's for crimes they didn't commit or crimes they did commit, they all group together because of necessity.
Yeah, I mean, watch Farscape. Episode 1, go.
Yeah. First season of Farscape, right? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Flan. Go ahead, Corey.
No, because you gotta find something to give to the characters to make them want to stay as a group. If you just go, dude, you guys are a group, okay, that doesn't work with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Let me ask the group here, all of us here. Brian.
Yes.
The A team. How does BA know the rest of the team?
They are all in a military outfit. they all
background.
That's
like background together.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly. Shared background.
It's something that can help get your party together. The reason that they're all joking about this with me is because my current party was doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was something like what Full On said. One guy walked off because he wanted to go see what was in those archways when the rest of the party was like, no, we're going to stay right here by the fire and not go anywhere. Well, he got teleported through a permanent gate that teleported him about 500 yards away from the party in a random direction.
Oh.
And when he did, he ended up being attacked. Well, when you're the thief and you do this and you aren't a good combat thief, but you're a sneaky thief and you have to fight 7 ghouls and a couple zombies by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, you're now a ghoul thief.
Exactly. You know what? You tell people, I know it sucks to kill your players, but they need to realize, well, my players needed to realize the world that they're in is not created for them. They're in a world where things will kill them. They are in a world, they're out adventuring not because it's easy money to find, because it's fun and there's risk involved. There's a reason why we as humans don't go naked wearing a meat belt out to the woods, because bears will kill and eat us.
Yep, pretty much.
Those mountain men with big beards and combat knives that want to go out in the woods, they're prepared to fight what's out there. They might die, but your players don't know that, well, I can go in that room by myself. I get the treasure by myself. I don't want anybody to notice. Hey, maybe there was a mimic in the room that's one of the stones that no one noticed before. Guess what? Now the player has to fight the mimic alone.
Yeah.
And the reason it did jump you before is because you were a pack of 5 people, and a mimic knows, if I attack one person just because I'm hungry, and there's 5 of them, I'm dead. But if I catch one person alone, oh, he's lunch.
Even better.
Exactly.
There's been a doppelganger following the party, but he decided to stay back in his room where the treasure was just randomly. Oh, and your one player decides to go back there and do shit alone? Guess what? He'll learn his lesson when he's re-rolling his new strength, dex, intelligence, con, and wisdom when he has to make a new character because he decided to split the party. Tell him to watch horror movies. Rule number 1. Don't split the party.
Yeah.
No, his character could be totally alive out there trying desperately to get that treasure by his own lonesome, and the doppelganger could now be back with the party pretending to be him. Make him play his own doppelganger.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep. There's a lot of ways you can get around it. I mean, yeah, you don't want to pull people to the side. That's the last resort and say, hey, douche. Or
yeah, sometimes you have to do it, but yeah, you don't want to unless
sometimes people
necessary.
do need the clue bat. Sometimes people can take a nudge, but sometimes people do need the clue bat upside the head,
Mm-hmm.
Some of the thing, though, is that, again, like I said before, I keep saying this, adventuring in D&D is a group effort. It involves group buy-in, not only from the DM and from the players, but from the players among each other, and from the players to the DM, and from the DM to the players.
Yep.
Here's the big neon sign. The adventure is this way. If I need to unless I'm just playing pure sandbox, I have nothing going on except the winds will blow me where you're going, and I have a bunch of random tables ready to go. Let's do something. Usually you want to have some structure to your game. Some people complain that's railroading. Tough. The adventure requires a beginning and an end and a path to get there. You can make that an interesting path, a variety of paths, but it's still going to be a path. Put them on that path. Get them to buy in. Start with the Star Wars entrance, in media res. Throw them in the middle of action. Let them make their decision from that point. If they're starting from the middle of the tavern in town, that's why they sit there staring at each other with their thumbs up their tuchus, asking about how to flirt with the red-headed barmaid instead of what's going on out in the ridgelands or what's going out in the swamp. Put them in the swamp and say, you have been adventuring together as security for this convoy for the last month from this town to this town, and this is the aftermath of the raid from the Black Dragon. You are the only survivors. Go.
Okay.
And I know a lot of players that probably walk away from the table and look for another DM.
Glenn.
Because they don't like in media res at all.
Yeah,
well,
but
there's ways to handle it. There's different groups.
You're right.
Flavor.
You are right. I'm sorry, Brian, what?
No, I was just going to say, how did I get you and Full On into my game?
Uh-huh.
We came up with past histories for your characters. Then I said, but there was a common goal for the both of you. The both of you are kind of outcasts. More Full On's character more because of what he is, and Glenn, your character more because of who he is. He's a chaotic good dwarf. He's not going to fit into society very easily. So you guys were trying to find work, and trying to do that. I said, okay, here's a little thing over here that you guys could be working for a while, and your contract's up. And your contract's up, you got paid, and off you go. Now you can do your own thing now. By this time,
jobs, yeah.
Exactly. And what do adventurers do well, it's sort of like the reverse, because what do adventurers do when they're not on the road in saving princesses? Yeah, they try to find work in a town or something. But in this way, it was
get to the next town.
Right.
Just to get to the next, this area's played out. Hey, we're going to go from Cormyr to Waterdeep. Let's quest.
Wow.
No. Hey, let's do a convoy. Hey, let's join a caravan.
That's a campaign right there.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that in media res is fine if you do it right. It's not like as long as you.
Hello, you all wake up in the middle of a dungeon naked, strapped to a chain wall.
Oh, God.
People hate that.
Yeah, there are too many DMs who rely on that.
Yeah, and that infuriates a lot of players.
Yeah, it does. Because at that point you're not starting at 0, you're starting at a negative. Because when you start at 0, you are fully equipped, ready to go to the local dungeon and beat up on some orcs and make a name and start making a name for yourself. When you're tied up in a 30 by 30 stone room, chained to the wall, I should say, and everybody's butt naked except for some strategically placed claws, that's starting at a negative point, and you're working up to 0. I mean,
you're really nice. I don't even give them claws.
Well, I'm just saying for the younger folks out there.
Remember the module treasure hunt?
Yes, yeah, you're all 0 level characters.
That's how we started in our basic game with the Zanzertam's dungeon. Right.
But there's a way to do it without making the players, especially experienced players, feel like, oh God, now we've got to start at this point, and we've got to spend the next month or two just scrabbling up enough coins so that we can eat. Never mind buying weapons and armor and things like that.
Right.
But go ahead, Corey. Go ahead. No, go
I was
on.
going to say my one final word on this to the writer of the email there, Claude. If they don't have histories, and even if they have a general history or background, feel free as the DM to add more in their background. Well, they wrote what they were doing as a child. They wrote what they were doing as a teen and what they're doing now. But what did they do when they were 19, that summer in 19? Oh,
I know what
this
you did
happened.
last summer.
Hand them a paragraph or two on a piece of paper. Maybe there's a villain in there that they pissed off. Now you go to the next player, and he stole something from a friend of that villain. Now they have a tie-in. There's somebody after both of them.
Right.
You feel free to add to their backgrounds, as long as they don't get butthurt about it. But, add to their backgrounds and use it as a tie-in for each of the characters to pull them together.
Right.
That's the best idea that I can give you from your question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, me personally, just in his thing where it's like, a number of individualists, it's at some point it's like, where everyone's going off on their own little tangent, and then the DM has to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes for each player doing each individual thing. At some point, I just have to take the DM screen, fold it up, set it down, and just say, look, guys, at some point, you guys have to work as a team. You cannot have your own individual agendas here, because it's going to drive me insane.
Right.
D&D is it's like Corey said in the beginning of his response. It's a team game, not just the DM, not between the DM and the players, but the players amongst themselves.
And you don't have to make every single adventure cater to every single individual. Sometimes you can do that. Most of the times you can't, which means you're going to have the players buy in to, hey, today we're going on things that kind of cater to the thief in the party. Hey, today we're going on things that kind of cater to the paladin in the party. Today we're going on things that cater to the fighter in the party, or whatever it is.
Not everybody can be Luke Skywalker. Sometimes you got to be Admiral Akbar.
Sometimes you got to be Lando Calrissian. Yep.
So set them up with things that try to give them a general direction to go together, that give them a reason to be banded together. Give them hooks that draw along each of their stories further on and can tie into other hooks to give them a lead in to set themselves up to prepare for, hey, we need to go do this for the fighter, but in order to do that, the thief guy needs to do this to get an in with the Thieves Guild. To get the in with the Thieves Guild, we get the information to handle what the fighter needs. You can do that so that they have a reason to do each other's objectives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
exactly.
if they walk off and went on their own adventure, then they're just telling you that they want to be Porkins.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Pull
thank
up,
you.
you're too low. No, I can handle it. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for that email.
Mm-hmm.
It helps.
Yes. One more.
One more? Okay,
give
we
us
can
another
do
one.
that. Hold on, let me just archive this real quick. Okay, let's see now. Okay, this is a short one. This is from Lon Jr. Or our friend Lon Vonador. That's who it is. He says, "Hey guys, was listening to an older show, episode 53, about cantrips and orisons. It got me thinking about my priest in the game. The big question I have is, should all priests be able to cast spells? PCs obviously should. Several of the clergy of different temples and churches, yes. But do all of them need spells? After listening to 53, I would probably allow even those that can't cast spells, the ability to at least use orisons. What do you think?"
Look.
Oh boy.
If you have priests who worship an idea or a thought or even a banana and they still get spells, yeah.
Yeah, if their belief is strong enough, sure.
Yeah. I mean those kind of priests, they get, like what, first to third level, but that's about it, but they still get spells.
Yeah.
In a magical D&D realm of whatever flavor, unless you're playing friggin' Conan, Hyborian Age, you're talking about stripping something core from the concept of the class. Now, if you have NPCs that are sub-level podunks of, hey, I'm the guy who takes confession. That's my job, really. That's it. I stay at the temple. I speak the friggin' doctrine, and I'll take confession, whatnot. And you're just totally unpowered. In the D&D realms, that's a guy who literally has no faith. He has no deity-inspired power. He can't even stand at the doors of the temple and hold off the friggin' lurking ghouls because he can't reinforce the holy ground with his will. So he can't turn, he can't cast spells. That's weak sauce. Unless someone is like a complete and total novitiate, initiate, friggin' petitioner, zero-level person who wants to go become a priest and he's just working his way up from altar boy or something, those are the people that you would have in a D&D world who have no power, no spells, unless you have a plot reason like in the Dragonlance to have people who say they have power and have none.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they have power over people, but they have no actual arcane or mystical divine power.
Oh, you mean like the king priest?
Yeah, there's people with literally no power other than the power over people. Mm-hmm. And if it's a high charisma guy who just suaves his way through, and he's a whatever priest like that, but he is in it for himself, and he has no investment in the faith, of course he will have no spells. If he literally is invested in the faith and is a believer in the D&D rules, he gets spells. If he worships the West Wall, he gets spells from the West Wall, up to third level just because he believes if he has faith. If he doesn't have faith, then he is a con artist and should be treated as such.
Well, I agree with you mostly on that, because you have your workaday priests who do stay at the temple. They're doing their God's work,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not warrior priests, so they don't have to have those. But the only place I would depart on you is turning. I think all priests, good aligned priests at least, or neutral, should be able to turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, I take some
evil ones control.
Yeah, they control. Yeah. No, I was just gonna say I'm sort of in the middle because I can see Full-On's point, but at the same time, not every member of a temple, no matter how big, no matter how expansive, they have, they do have mundanes. They do, and and their faith is no less than they do, but they don't have that ability. They don't have the ordainment. There are just some who believe as strongly in the god, the thunder god Thor as the high priest of the temple, but his calling is not along those lines. It's more to take care of the grounds, do the paperwork, do the more mundane things, so that the actual priests who have the granted power of the thunder god, they can focus on what they need to, which is being being awesome warriors and priests of an awesome warrior god. So, I mean, with me, it's sort of like, either or. The whole thing is that you have to remember, Lon, that cantrips and orisons serve the same exact purpose. They are the first spells or prayers that a priest that's going to be ordained into the order, that's what they learn first. So
yeah, probably those ordinary priests can do those all day.
Right, yeah.
But do that and turn. I think every priest should be able to turn, because if you got the Undead coming to your temple and you want to hold them off, you get a line of priests with the holy symbols out there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Glenn.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, it's one of these things where
it's a huge manifestation of their deity's faith.
Well, I agree. I agree with you, but that's also part of the 0 level initiates training. They learn the prayers, they learn the orisons, they learn all these legends and lores of their god, and then as they progress in their training on their way to becoming a first level cleric, they learn how to manifest the power of their faith. They learn how to use their faith in the god Thor to be able to make that skeleton that's coming at him with a rusty sword run away from him. So it's one of those things where once you're a first level priest, you have all of those abilities. It's just that while you're on your way to first level, while being ordained in the faith, that's where they're going to have some that are just learning their orisons. They're going to be some that know their orisons, but now they're learning how to turn undead, and they're learning combat training as well. So
and with that, you still can have, depending on the structure of your priesthood and the heroic level of power in your world, there can be that 80-year-old guy who's the high priest of the temple who really has no spells and has no power, but he's the politician. He's the guy who deals with the kingdom and makes sure that, your temple gets its tithes and donations and stuff like that, and does all that mundane work. It's like the cloistered cleric from the Best of Dragons.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the guy who stays in the house and does that. Now, you can have those, but, giving them power, I mean, he might be able to read scrolls or use items, and, he's got enough faith to empower the divine in the relics and artifacts that are entrusted to his office, and still be able to represent and not just be a pushover schlub, but you can also have the political structure of your world so that, hey, adventurers who have adventuring levels are subservient to 0-level mooks who hold the house.
Yeah, that's true.
He's wearing the crown, man. He's got the robes. He's got the vestments. He's in charge.
He's got the mitre.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Corey. You were next. Go ahead.
I was just going to chime in my opinion here.
Go ahead.
Who wrote this? Lon?
Yeah, Lon Varner Dorn. Regular emailer, yes.
What you have to ask yourself when you're asking this question is, how in-depth are your deities in this world? Are you Forgotten Realms level? Are you Conan level? I mean, if you're going where your gods have walked the planet as avatars, then, you're going to have a lot of players or a lot of NPCs who are going to have abilities. I get around this question simply by using something that was in one of the Dragon magazines, and I know I've talked about it before, and I don't remember what issue it was in, piety points. Like Fulam was saying, you can have a guy who's head of the church in one region. He can only cast 0-level spells and orisons. Why? Because he doesn't have enough piety points, because he's too busy shuffling paperwork and making sure that the delivery of the wheat gets to the farms in the area instead of going and praying.
Right.
And why doesn't he have spells? He's so high. Because he doesn't have enough piety points.
Right.
Piety points was an ability given in Dragon Magazine that allowed the DM to be able to say, yeah, your cleric spells aren't working today. Why? Oh, yesterday was a holiday. I forgot to pray. Damn it. That's essentially one workaround as far as how you want to do it. I mean, you have first level or 0-level wizards, apprentice wizards, who have to learn cantrips before they can learn first level spells.
Correct.
Okay. The same way that you can have acolytes who can cast orisons. Now, I think everybody who actually calls themselves an acolyte, or you have an NPC who is a cleric of some sort, whether they're 0-level acolyte, they're the bell ringer who washes clothes, you should be able to have them at least cast one orison.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, his piety point should be enough to give him at least one Ornson.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who actually focuses, who actually does all the Hail Marys, who scrubs the pews and washes feet with their hair and smacks themselves on the back with a whip in their bedroom, those kind of things are going to go above and beyond what the bureaucratic cleric who goes and talks to the town council and says, we really need a large portion of the rock quarry because we need to finish a wing on our church or we're not going to be able to fit enough townspeople in the next sermon. Oh yeah, I'll stay and have a drink. That guy's not going to be able to cast third level spells.
Right? Yeah, because he's too busy doing other stuff. Also, as a recommendation, I would suggest reading. By the way, the issue of Dragon magazine that Corey's talking about is 236. Also, another thing you might want to check out is because, as we all know, PDFs for the older editions of D&D are on sale again at most online stores and things like that. Check out the supplement Bastion of Faith. That gives you an overview of a complete faith. You can drop that faith into your campaign if you want, but it also gives you going from the 0 level 80-year-old garden tender all the way up to like the 17th level high priest.
That sounds like a episode. That sounds like a project that we would have done an episode on.
We did. Thank you for pointing that out, Full On. We did do that. Let's see what. Just scrolling back through the shows and just to give everyone the episode that was in. We did one on cantrips and orisons. That was 53, as Lon said. Now, if I could just find it, I think Gods and Men and Monsters. That's it. That's episode 24. We did a full overview of that campaign. Yeah, that supplement, Bastion of Faith. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Lon. Mm-hmm. And if you'd like to send in some emails, you can send them in thacoshammer@gmail.com, or you do a voicemail like Kojo does.
Yep. At 405-806-0555.
Thank you.
If you're going to send us Audacity files, send us the exported file, MP3, WAV, WMA, whatever, not the AUP file.
Yes.
There's more to it than that.
Yes. Otherwise, we no play.
Yeah, it won't play. We won't get it. You'll think we're ignoring you, and then bad feelings.
And guess what? We are, because you didn't send the right file.
Yeah, it's like send us an MP3, send us a WAV, send us something we could use, please.
Thank you. That's yes, and viewers like you. So let's go on to people skills.
The face is familiar.
It's mine.
And so it is.
Oh, yes, of course. It stands out a mile, doesn't it? He's so common.
A little lady comes in here and starts throwing her butt around. What is that supposed to do?
All right, forget I said anything.
Maybe I will.
Well, that's pretty good.
Then don't tell me you weren't looking at it.
Well, that's not half bad.
She's giving it right back to you.
People skills.
People skills. The Jester's Kit out of the Bard's Handbook, page 34.
Yep.
Okay, this is going to be pretty much a comedy episode.
Yeah, we're bringing the funny.
Well, try and we're going to get into it later. But it's like I said, page 34. Standard ability scores, except dexterity must be at least 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same scores you would need as a bard, but your dex needs to be at least 14. Also, go ahead, Glenn.
It's a bard kit.
Yes, it is.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Must have a chaotic alignment, since you can't play the straight man and be a jester.
No,
sorry,
you cannot.
Can't do it, not gonna let you.
Well, no problem with that. I mean, I've seen other characters like that. I'm trying to see if there's any, I guess any race can be a jester.
Yeah, gnomes can go up to 15th level as a jester, halflings only 8th. I can't see a dwarf jester would be something very interesting. But yeah.
Why they could ride pigs and joust each other.
Hey, I have ridden a war boar as a dwarven fighter priest, and it's awesome.
Well, so is Tyrion. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. As the description says, they're mostly known as clowns, fools, jokers, buffoons, whatever word you want to use. They're comedians at heart. They love to have a good time, enjoy sharing their mirth and merriment with others, even when they aren't welcomed. And most people... Go ahead.
Or as George Carlin used to call them, fool with an E on the end.
Leave it to Carlin to put it in perfect terms.
This is to separate itself. This is the Bard's Handbook Jester, not to be confused with the Dragon Magazine Jester, which is the NPC kit who is allowed to control Wands of Wonder.
Oh,
this is not that guy.
This is not.
Although I might add that in.
Most people enjoy having a jester about as they raise morale, entertain, and make great scapegoats when problems arise. That's why you always see a court jester, most of the time in the grand hall of the King of Northwood, right, or whatever you want to say. Because not only do they entertain, but they also make good targets of the king's ire sometimes.
Actually, I'd like to give him a wand of chromatic juggling balls.
Oh, Corey, you missed that one.
Don't drop one.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. That was a joke, son. You missed it. Anyway, they're most often hired by nobles for entertainment. Of course, this is what they do. They look the fool, but at the same time, the jester's getting paid for it. And they also, they're also really good for gathering information and things like that. But, but this is one of those that they're not, jester, at least this kit doesn't lend itself as much to adventuring as others do. I could see this in like a city or a city intrigue kind of campaign where, the jester's always, in attendance, and they're always, how should I put it? They're always in a place where, they know, they see things going on, and, they pass along information and things like that. They're good information gatherers.
And if you know your movies, you remember in Danny Kaye's The Court Jester, Giacomo was not only a jester, he was an assassin.
Yes, he was.
The flagon with the dragon, the vessel with the pestle.
Exactly. But he was supposed to be the land's best assassin, too.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Some other things to consider if you're going to be looking at a jester for an adventuring career. You'll want to be, if not a city-based, more like one of the, intrigue war campaigns with lots of people of the same language, lots of people with the same,
viewpoint.
Not so much undead. You want to be able to piss off living creatures that can understand you, either by hearing what you say or seeing what you do. Because they'll let you get away with gestures to jest someone, but body motions and stuff. But generally, flipping the bird at an orc is as bad as flipping the bird to a dwarf, but or whatever your local colloquialism for that is. But generally, making fart noises at a skeletal warrior is not going to tick him off whatsoever. So you need to be dealing with living opponents, and it's easier to deal with ones who can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, right. The roughest job in the land is being jester in an necropolis.
Yeah, because that is a
come on, people. These are the jokes. Come on.
Yeah. One of the benefits about
and this is Dead House.
Yeah. Oh, but
sorry.
One of the benefits of the class is the Fool's Luck, which is where the jester gets a +1 bonus, or if it's a percentile roll, +5 bonus to most die rolls. That includes saves, initiative, surprise, proficiency checks, thief skill checks, ability checks, sub checks, bend bars, lift gates, resurrection, survival, and that's also a +1 bonus to their armor class. So it's one of those things where just by sheer blind luck, sometimes the jester gets through things that might have killed the stuck-up fighter over there.
Well, I'll tell you, you can expand that fool's luck too. If I was in a party with a jester and I happened to be unfortunate enough to find a deck of many things, he's the one I'd hand it to.
Oh God!
Pick a card, any card.
Yep, pick a card, any card.
He has the best chance of surviving it.
Yeah, something like that. That +1 bonus would help him out in certain certain cards are drawn, like the death card. You get a saving throw against that card or you die.
No, that's not the death card. The death card is you get to fight a minor death, and if you lose, you die.
That's right.
Yeah.
And anybody who joins in the fight gets their own minor death to fight.
That's right.
And I know adventuring parties who would just glom onto that. That's for sure. Okay, another thing they do is, of course, joke telling, and when they tell a joke in game terms, the joke takes 1 to 10 rounds to tell, and the audience must save versus paralyze at a -1 penalty per 3 levels of the jester, or have their reactions, reactions adjusted by one level in the direction desired by a jester.
Right.
How many times have we seen a comedian go out there on stage and tell a joke that he's already bombing, and then he tells that one joke that brings him back to him, and it
kills.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely destroys the audience, and then all of a sudden he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
That's what this is, and also it can dispel the effects of fear, normal or magical. Yeah, so nice. I could see the jester just being the support character when the players are going up against a dragon, and that dragon fear is in effect, which is pretty significant, and the jester just says, something, it says a stupid joke and makes the character, one of the PCs, laugh, and then all of a sudden the fear effect is gone.
Right.
Another thing.
A bit more effective is the jesting. It's more useful in combat because it doesn't take 10 rounds to do. You can do it every round, all round.
Yep.
And you can actually affect individual combatants immediately. Yep. And what this does is it causes them, if they fail their saving throw or wisdom check at a -5 penalty, to immediately attempt to attack the jester. They will go past. They will break ranks. They will ignore attacks of opportunity. They will just dive right at the jester, however best they can, because he's torqued them off, either to taunt or to tease.
Agreed.
Again, this takes being within 30 feet of your target and having either full view if you don't share a common language, or at least a common language, you can get them to commit. This is how you can break those tactical game masters who have all the avenues and all the lines and all the attack approaches covered to break ranks and open up holes and bring people out to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is more or less exactly what Kender do. This is almost exactly to the letter what Kender do, except the jester they actually have to the opponents have to save versus paralyze with a -1 penalty per 3 levels, or they will try to physically strike the jester for as long as the jesting continues. And of course, that's actually the jester in that instance is the wild card. Because there are those who I've seen it done in Dragonlance campaigns, where somebody's running the Kender, and this is why the party tolerates the Kender, because the Kender can just say, "Hey, your mama's beard was too short." Talking to dwarves. Next thing you know, the dwarf just like "Arr!" and wants to kill the Kender. But it's the same thing with the jester.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, and I'd add an artifact just for the jester in there. Somewhere in the dungeon, I put the killer joke.
The killing joke,
and he will be the only one who could wield it and not die.
Exactly
At the end.
Exactly.
Shittabaya! Yeah. Sitting there with orcs.
And the last thing, which is actually a really nice little bonus to this kit. Jesters are immune to attacks that cause insanity. They also get a saving throw bonus equal to their level versus wizard spells of the enchantment charm school and priest spells of the charm sphere. Now, that's pretty good, but
does that mean you can't feeble mind a jester?
He gets one hell of a save against it. He gets whatever his level is, he gets that level added to his saving throw, so it's pretty hard. And then, on top of that, any attempt to read a jester's mind has a percentage chance equal to the jester's level of causing confusion in the mind reader.
Right.
Now, we all know the confusion. As a matter of fact, we've never actually covered the confusion spell, but we will.
This would be useful to have around when you're going against mind flayers.
Mind flayers, doppelgangers, anything with psionics. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice little bonus to the kit.
Plus, I don't have to run faster than the mage. I just have to run faster than the jester.
Exactly. And the jester runs pretty fast.
After you hamstring them.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I was going to say, Corey is strangely quiet on this.
No, just listening to you guys go off.
Oh, okay. Until you. Well,
I'm still here drinking. I'm just drinking. We're good.
I'll wait for you to go off.
But just to conclude the kit, it even gives a note saying jesters can be a lot of fun if properly played with the right gaming group.
I know.
However, this character kit can be devastating to an overly serious campaign. It is strongly suggested that both the DMs and the players discuss the ramifications of the kit and how it will fit into the game if allowed. Because we all know we have the chaotic, crazy players out there who...
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
We reserve our opinions until the next segment.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because it's very, very relevant to that. The Jester kit from the Complete Bard's Handbook. Try it out. You may be surprised. It might fit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go into... I'm sorry, what?
No, I was just saying it all depends on your DM and your players, but go ahead.
Anything's worth a laugh.
Has anybody here played a jester?
No. I've known there was one player in one of the campaigns I played in. He played a jester. Let's just put it this way, because he if you gave an alignment to this kid, it would probably be chaotic neutral with, I'd say slight evil tendencies, just as a person. So playing this character just kind of drove our DM to distraction to the point where he kind of, I won't go so far as to say he killed him off, but let's just say that he wasn't as fair as he normally is in concern when it came to this character, and that's all I'll say.
The last Jester I played was actually the Dragon Magazine version of the Jester.
Which is actually
that shows you what kind of campaigns I was in.
Oh, well, we all know you're a power gamer, full on. We know.
What?
We know. We all know. You've given that cat's been out of the bag for a couple of years now.
Yep. And let's go on to Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. All right, here's the big question. How much comedy do you put in your games?
Now for something completely different. Comedy in your Dungeons and Dragons game.
Stop that. That's just silly.
Well, large. Anyway, show of hands. Who wouldn't want to play Freakazoid as a PC? Why am I the only one having the hand up?
Oh,
that's
I don't
because you're just that kind of guy, Glenn.
I
wasn't a big fan of Freakazoid. I was still more of a Beetlejuice guy at that point in my
I can't
days.
I can't do Freakazoid justice. That's why
when I was playing Champions, the group was divided into the Freakazoid camp and the Tick camp.
Oh God. Oh my God!
I would be more in the Deadpool camp. Sorry.
Yeah.
I once played a Cavalier that was Johnny Bravo.
Oh God.
That's pretty good.
So it was totally epic. That's all he would do. He'd be walking up around bars going, "Look at my armor, baby. It's pretty big. It's pretty awesome. Shiny."
He was here.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
I can see it. Oh God, I can't imagine how many comedy characters I've played. I played comedy character based on, let's see, Kramer. That was a bard, by the way.
Before his meltdown, I would hope.
Before his meltdown.
Thank you.
I played a halfling based on Danny DeVito's character in Throw Mama from the Train.
Aim Owen.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. I played a fighter based on Tor Johnson.
Wow.
It goes on and on. So you guys go ahead.
Well, to be fair, Glenn, it's never stopped.
Well, it's just characters now. It's not characters trying to be funny.
Well, Harry S. Thunderson, I rest my case.
Oh, he was a character.
Yeah, he was a character, all right.
Uh-huh.
I think I probably, just simply due to the fact that I DM more, I probably put more comedy in my campaigns as the DM.
How many here have, what kind of comedic NPCs do you have as a DM?
Oh my god, are you kidding me? You name it, there's references all throughout.
And I'm not just
Hello,
talking
I'm Ahmed. I am the Grinning Goblin. We have a wonderful time for you today. Let's go today. Ha! Yes.
There we go. And I'm not just talking about, like, famous people, impersonations, comics and stuff. I'm talking about, like, comedic characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We have a few. I've from the character side of things, I've run with the dwarven fighting monk who's exactly like the guy from the Taekwon Leap Dr. Demento skits.
Boot to the head.
Boot to the head, yes.
Yeah.
That's martial art he developed. Boot to the head.
Okay.
Dwarven martial art rocks on. And on the NPC side of things, I've had NPC weapons that were just bizarrely insane. I've had NPCs that were out of this world, like Ahmed the Grinning Goblin, who wears the boot of speed, the ring of the quickling, and he handles the wonderfulest, most bestest inn in Waterdeep.
Most bestest inn?
Most bestest inn. Very good, very nice. You come to us right away. We can take care of you. Right.
I had a couple of short lizard men who would wander around town, the Lizardo brothers, and only one of them talked because the other one was perpetually drunk. And he just talking like this. Hey, you want something? Come over here. That kind of thing.
God. I mean,
You talk to me, big booty!
Come on, Brian. You're bringing up the rear. What do you got?
Oh God, I'm actually trying to remember because as a DM, I've always left the comedic element up to my players. And, let's just put it this way, my latest endeavor has not disappointed. between, our dwarf with the Russian accent and our half orc with the French accent,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just have fun just listening to the two of you banter like Oscar Madison and Felix Unger. I love it. But
yeah, well, it's the opposites thing,
Yeah, exactly. Well, the funny part, then again, awful good half orc, chaotic good dwarf, true.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that with me, it's sort of like I've just been lucky in that aspect that I've gotten players who aren't like hyper serious. Every once in a while I get some, but there are some who just have this comedic bent to some of their characters that I absolutely love, and I don't have to do a thing. All I have to do is put them in X situation.
All you've got to do is put a dead bishop on the landing.
Yeah,
What's his That's tattooed on the back of his neck.
Watch it. Brian's going to go into Python overdose here. So
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Okay, good.
All right.
Good. Okay, okay, I got another question.
Go ahead.
As DM,
mm-hmm.
How many times have you had a player who, no matter what he plays or how he plays, the character always turns out funny, even if he can't help it?
That was 90. My former roommate Laura. She always ran characters that had a comedic slant to them. 99% of the time, I think there's only maybe like one character she's ever played that's actually been somewhat serious because he was sort of the bookish librarian type who's out in the big wide world and, figuring out he can make a difference, the making of a hero, that kind of stuff. But the first character she played in one of my campaigns was a Henge Yokai martial artist. And, and it's just that she had a lot of Jackie Chan, a little bit of Jet Li, and some Hong Kong Phooey in there.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was great. I absolutely loved it. And, she was, let's put it this way, if I could get her into our game, I'd take her in a heartbeat. I would, because she is one of the better role players, and the way she portrays characters, especially the ones with a little bit of a comedic bent, it just kills me. Absolutely kills me.
I had a player in a 2E game. A good friend of mine, Dano.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what
anybody?
he played,
Sorry, I had to do
it. No matter what he played, it was funny because he was, and he was not. And the thing is, he was not trying to be funny.
Yeah, that's the best type.
The thing. Yeah, because he would just do stuff. He's a little hyper to begin with, okay? But he'd do stuff. I mean, I always tell the story of the Call of Cthulhu game where him and another player have to infiltrate this Cthulhuid cult, and they take him in. They're going to join the cult because they're trying to infiltrate him. Okay, fine. And so part of it is they have to put hoods over their heads when they're doing the initiation stuff. And I go, okay, something, you feel something go over your head and the room is dark. He goes, I turn on a flashlight. What? I spent 5 minutes laughing.
Yes. It's those players that aren't purposely, for whatever concept they have in their head, they're going out of their way to be funny. It's just the funny happens naturally.
Yeah, exactly. You had a 2E game my friend Tom was running, and he was playing this fighter called something Tiberius, and he found a talking, intelligent sword in there. And he went and he does stuff like, he goes back after we chase all the bad guys out of this mansion and stuff, and goes back and loots the place. for no reason. And he finds the sword. And my other friend Dan, Tom said, you play the sword. Because Dan and Dano were also friends, and we all knew how Dano was. And Dano says, "Okay," and Tom goes, "Okay, what are you going to name the sword?" He goes, "I'm going to name it Blunderbutt."
Yep.
That sword had it in for him so bad. You're calling me what? My sword, Blunderbutt.
To answer your question.
Yes, I'm
Glenn,
sorry.
I do have a friend. We call him Steve Dave. One of those is his real name, but we call him Steve Dave. If you ever watch any Clerks movies, it's one of the characters in the show.
Yeah.
But everybody will play serious, straight-up, hardcore adventure characters, like total badasses. Steve Dave will come in and he'll be like, "Yeah, I'm going to play Paladin." And we're all like, "Oh, okay, this guy's going to be super serious. He's going to be like ethos, and he's going to be strict." So we're walking around in town, and everybody's meeting up, and, they're role-playing to get together. And everybody's like, "Hey, what's up?" Not, "Good evening, fine sir." They're like, "Hey, what's up?" So, what are you doing? And they're like, "So, you're in armor. You must be some sort of fighter. What's your name?" And he goes, stands up, clears his throat, fists on his hips as his head jerks to one side and goes, "I am Chad Sexington, the 69th Earl of Cornwick. I am defender," what do you say? "I am defender of the virtuous, and I am the slayer of the mighty Hymen in the moist caves of Vahina." And I went, "What did you just say?" He goes, "It's my name." He showed me his character sheet. He wrote all of it out. So every time he meets somebody, this paladin stands up, he's like, "I'm Chad Sexington, 69th Earl of Pornwick." I'm like, oh, God. And it just got worse from there because everybody else is at the table just being normal, like, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my sword. I'm going to swing for him. Okay, I'm going to do this. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and save that princess for you, King. We'll tell the king we're going to save his daughter." Steve Dave stands up and goes, "Forsooth, we shall defeat the Like, he always plays that paladin that you would think role-playing nerds would be when they're nerdiest, and that's Steve Dave, only when he plays paladins. You give him a fighter, you give him a thief, you give him a mage, he's normal. The moment he plays a paladin, he's got to be the shining light in armor, and it's so over the top. It's ridiculous. Steve Dave brings comedy to the table. I got another buddy, Dave, who you were talking about your magic sword. He plays a huge northern barbarian who, with the random check of height and everything, his character's almost 7 foot. So, and he's like 412 pounds, strength 1890, right? So everybody joins the group, and there's 2 clerics in the party and a bunch of other, and they're dwarves, and there's a human who's a fighter cleric. So there's religion in the party. This guy hates magic, so he didn't want to deal with any magic, even from gods. Well, he figured that everybody else was getting treasure and getting good stuff because they had gods. So at night, Dave comes the next session. He's got a toy, and it's a big red plastic ball. And he goes, "Can you spray paint this for me so it looks like a rock?" And I went, "What?" He goes, just let me do this. So I spray painted it up in the garage, brought it back down. We started playing. And he goes,
I see where this is going.
He comes back, and he's like, I found religion. My God is stronger than yours. And the dwarves are like, there's no way. You kidding me? We're essentially my world's version of Clangadin, the god of battle. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, this is my God. And he holds up a rock. And the dwarf goes, what? He's like, yeah, this is my God. And he goes, how's that stronger than my God? He goes, where's your God? He goes, well, they're not, our dwarven gods aren't here. They're deep under the mountain or whatever. And he goes, well, my God says he can punch you. Can your God punch me? So he throws a rock at one of the dwarves and like beating him right in his head. So he's got this plastic toy at the table. And here it's some meatball from some TV show. There's a button on it. It's essentially a magic 8-ball that will say yes, no, or ask again later. So now he confers with the rock anytime there's a decision at the table, and he hits the button, and randomly it'll go, the meatball says no, the meatball says yes, or ask again later. So he'll be like, they're like, you're the big barbarian, you charge in and attack him from the front, not the side. He goes, well, let me ask. And he hits the button and goes, the meatball says no. He looks over and goes, I'm not attacking from the front.
Wow.
That works. That worked.
Holy crap.
It's gotten to the point where everybody's laughing that it's picking the most inopportune answers for him. Everybody goes, can you check with your God to see if it would be a good idea if we go into this room? Even the dwarves are like, let's ask your God to see what he says. It's pretty funny. So yeah, he brought comedy that night.
That's great. We need more players
with props, no less.
Yeah. Then there's the games that. Oh, I also got to mention one more thing.
Go ahead.
I think we have an AP of Crispy's Labyrinth Lord.
Yes.
Game. A couple of them. There was one where they had a princess in it. I don't know if it was the module he was doing, but I ended up taking over the princess. I mean, I didn't play her, but I ended up doing the NPC because I knew what he wanted her to do, and she turned into a pepper pot from Monty Python. Oh well, yes, he was over here. Order like that princess over. And I did this for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I hear applause. And Crispy's going, good also, ladies and gentlemen. It's because I just start going off. It was weird. But anyway, you get these games where it's like totally serious business.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the one guy. And I'm usually
the one guy. Yeah. Yeah, those are more my games.
and these, well, yeah, but I mean, these other players, it's like they get irate. No comedy in this. No comedy in this game. Yeah. This is serious stuff. I mean, something's warranted, okay? Depending on the adventure, but
right. There's room to have some comedy in your games, to have a lighthearted tone in some cases. You don't want to just lose 3 hours on a Monty Python tangent. That's too much.
No, I understand.
That was some games I played too.
You also have issues where you have the guy who refuses to play anything but a half unicorn humanoid furry.
Yep, have one of them.
And he won't play anything but ever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you think he's trying it for a laugh, but he doesn't do anything funny with it. It's the funny that isn't. It's the funny that falls flat.
That's the kind of thing you have to look out for.
It's dangerous.
I have a problem with a guy who wants to be the comedian at the table, and I don't personally when I'm DMing, I don't mind the odd joke here and there, the odd comment, but when the guy in character wants to bring modern reference material for comedy into my game, it's like, it would be funny if you're like, well, it looks like it's a horse breeder from here. That'd been funny because there's horse breeders, but if he's like, wow, talk about the electric screwdriver, dude, that makes no sense.
Exactly.
As your character saying that, dude, knock it off, stay medieval. That's what we're doing. When we play Star Wars, you can make as many lightsaber in the pants jokes as you want. But we're not on Alderaan. Because I'm looking for love on Alderaan places. Anyways.
Oh.
I've got a Wookiee that will help you with that. His name is Havar. He is a gigolo.
I know, I've seen his pictures. But yeah, anyway, I just have a problem with people who, when we're playing D&D, keep the jokes references to the world, or at least you know what I mean? It's
keep them to the milieu that you're playing in.
Or generic.
Generic comedy's fine too. I don't mind that.
It's the situation, not the the reference.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's the comedy that happens just within the context of the game through no purposeful action of the players. I mean, I've told this story before. I was running a game with some friends of mine back in the early 90s, and one of my best friends' name is Dale. He's playing a barbarian called Dylan, who was, Barney badass, 18, exceptional strength, high stats in almost everything. And then the first combat they get into, he fumbles 3 times. Constantly tripping over tree branches and just knocking himself out for like 1 or 2 rounds.
Right.
While there are orcs around, swinging swords and things. And from that point on, it's like, anytime there was a fight that was going to happen in a forest, the players would all say, "Watch out for tree roots, Dylan," or something like that. And, it would be something to wake the players up,
And,
drawing a sword, get 20 feet away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then there's the comedy that you may not have a Joker in the thing, and you guys, generally just do out of character stuff. But then there's the game where comedy just happens to erupt out of the situation.
Yes.
Case in point, my basic game, Durr and the Ring of Delusion.
Durr. Just that in itself, before you even explain the story, that's funny.
Well, I explained it before. Brad's character Durr had an int of 3. Mm-hmm. He found a ring of delusion, which he thought was a ring of animal control. Every single animal we ran into, from grizzly bears on down, even monsters he tried to control, didn't work. Got killed by a grizzly bear.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody noticed because his int was 3. That was totally hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just one of those things. And that's the kind of comedy that I appreciate as a DM. Or as a player, as a matter of fact, just playing alongside you or whoever, is doing these kind of things. But it's just one of those things where as a player, and especially as a DM, I always tell my players if one of them's trying just a little too hard to be funny, it's like, dude, it's just downshift a gear, dude. Don't try.
Let it happen.
Yeah.
Let it happen if it happens.
If it happens, let it out. But if not, don't try to, make every situation into a sitcom.
You have certain people who do anything for attention, including saying jokes that really aren't funny or, obvious stuff and really bad. I mean, I went through, that was me. I went through that. But by the time I hit D&D, I pretty much got that out of my system. So, folks, comedy is kind of hard, but you can do it. It's called timing.
Yeah.
There are times to joke and times to fight.
Yep. If not, the punishments can be severe.
What did I say about a time to joke? Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned to I'm Mr. strategic bomb guy. I listen, I judge. Okay, say something real quick. Okay, fine, got it in.
Exactly.
That's
pretty much how you do things. I've noticed.
Yeah, I was at Ken St. Andre's table, and he was talking about a magic item that was round on one end, and I think he was describing one of those pole maces. With things, it's got knobs on it like a mace, and I said, or a French tickler, and everybody went, collapsed, and that's it's not easy, but you can do it. But that's the kind of thing you gotta do. You got to judge. Why am I teaching?
For case in point, you must be aware whether or not your table will allow you to play blue.
Yeah, then there's that.
That's true. But now I'm trying to teach people etiquette and how to act. No, never mind. Anyway, comedy.
Yeah. Bring us your comedic stories, please.
Yes, please. THACOshammer@gmail.com. Let's move on before I get any deeper to Loaded for Bear.
Bet you don't have a pair of these, Earthling.
And for the big critters, sometimes you got to bring out the nuclear weaponry.
Loaded for Bear.
Loaded for Bear.
You ever seen a loaded bear? When they're drunk? Man, that's hilarious.
Oh,
loaded for bear. Okay.
Yeah, pee off balconies. Anyway,
now, that wasn't me this time.
Yes.
That wasn't me.
Okay. Using weapons non-traditionally. I'm a
Hold on.
element on this.
Yes.
Using
First,
weapons
you must grab the paladin by the shoulder straps and fling him about mightily. Therefore, you may smite your enemies with a holy weapon at your leisure.
especially if they're wearing magic armor.
Indeed.
Consult the Book of Armaments.
Anyway. Let's see.
The only thing I can remember is I played a fighter one time where the party went up against a vampire and he managed to mind control me to strike at the person behind me. So I picked the vampire up by his ankles and hit him with it.
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, the last example I've seen was in my own game with Full On throwing his saber, if I'm not mistaken. 15 feet away, and basically, just annihilating a hobgoblin or a goblin or whatever it was.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's Lady Hawk. Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Exactly.
it's been a famous thing to do ever since. You got Lady Hawk, you got the Sword and the Sorcerer, you've got reasons to get in and mix it up. Ever since Legolas and Braveheart got all ninja with their friggin' bows, people like to go, hey, it's a quarterstaff with a string on it. Whack, 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 whack. Beat people up, whatever. You can pound people with a friggin' crossbow. You can put that bayonet fixture on it. Or even if you don't, or just the classic Jackie Chan, I've got a bench. That's my only weapon. I've got weapon proficiency bench. Yes!
Go Corey Monk.
Proficiency my ass specialized. I mean, we've all seen Drunken Master and whatever other movies he's done where he's done stuff with the bench and by the way, go ahead.
The pulley and the rope, the umbrella, the ladder, the umbrella, the bench, the rope and hook, the 2x4, anything and everything. You can also, hey, I've got to fight something and I can't use edged weapons on it. Everything I have is slashing. Well, I'm going to shove my weapon in the sheath and I'm going to wield it with the sheath on.
Yep, and beat him up that way, exactly.
Bludgeoning now, yay. You can do any number of things like this to throw that odd twist into the weapons, and you do that because of circumstances. Either something is restricting you, or you need to bypass a restriction or a limitation or a specific threat. The only silver thing I got is the clasps on my sheath. Put the sword down, and I'll beat him with the sheath.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. What were you about to say, Glenn?
Oh,
You were about to say something about Corey?
Oh, no, I was wondering. No,
Have I used weapons basically non-traditionally? Not really.
How about your players?
Well, let's see. One of them likes to use magic weapons as TNT when they're being attacked and killed by drow in a dungeon when they're not supposed to be at that low level. So he can bring down the dungeon ceiling on top of them. Right. I guess that's non-traditional.
I'll throw magic missile at a fully charged wand of fireballs any day.
I keep thinking about Montana Cole Squires at North Texas when Vince was running the Marvel game, where his character had a really puny. He couldn't really fire a gun, but he could throw a gun, so he had a bandolier of guns, and that was his attack. Throw gun. He put a gun through a villain's head.
Wow.
Hey, that's not to be laughed at. I mean, in a sci-fi game, things like that happen all the time. Throw a friggin' bandolier of ammo at somebody with the that blaster pack trick where you make them into a detonating device.
Yep.
And you just do that little blaster pack trick and throw a whole bandolier of 20 ammo clips into the enemy and blow them up like that. Hey, got too many people to have something to do in your starship, every turret is filled, everybody's piloting, and you still got people looking for something to do, we would go out into the airlock with a friggin' missile unloaded from the missile rack and fire that freehand off of the deck of the ship at people.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
Hell
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, you just put me in mind of Wraith Squadron, where they used a laser cannon from an X-Wing like that rigged it with a 0G thing, with a 0G harness, with thrusters and everything like that. I mean,
I got Popeye cartoons where he does stuff like that.
Yeah, he improvises all the time. He just doesn't eat. He always uses the spinach as a last resort.
Right.
Always like to be able to take weapons and do stuff that if you use it as a combo, like, yeah, I have a throwing dagger proficiency and a wand of enlarge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
jeez. Oh, yeah, turn that dagger into like a bastard sword.
Hey, I'm going to take a new proficiency. What, a new throwing proficiency? Yeah, what are you taking? Chakrams.
Dude.
Yep.
Half ogre, girdle of storm giant strength, gauntlets of ogre power, daggers of tripling.
Yep.
That's a friggin' 50 cal right there.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. Oh, and double specialized in thrown dagger.
Of course. We can't forget that.
Oh, yes.
Cannot forget that.
I try.
But that's just still traditional use. Just very violent traditional use.
6 shooters of chromatic orb?
Yeah, that's what I would call unusual for sure.
Here, catch these. Yeah.
There's always that fifth function of the Wand of Force where it gets the blade out. Suddenly you have the D&D lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
Corey's got the mage of Corey's got the mage with the wand of chromatic orbs. You know what the activation word is? The activation phrase is?
What?
Think fast.
Yeah, heads up.
Actually, you can always get into the creative uses of spells as weapons to do things like that. Like the ever popular, I'm going to summon the wall of ice, horizontally unanchored to anything over my opponents. Flop.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the, rock to mud, absorb everybody. I'm going to drop the wall of iron on people. I'm going to make the, we talked about it last time where we cast lightning bolt into a body of water, and then our scientist-minded DM allowed us to have free-floating hydrogen oxygen and explode that with the next fire-based spell. There's creative ways to get really, really interesting results, both with spells and weapons.
And spells with weapons is even better.
Actually, Glenn, I'd have to say if I had a mage with a wand of chromatic orb, he'd have to squint, and his voice would be raspy, and he'd say something like, I'm not sure if I fired 4 chromatic orbs or 5.
Oh, God.
Well, do you feel lucky, punk?
Well, that's like the
get off my lawn
jester who's got the wand of wonder who decides, I'm going to throw a hippo at someone.
Yep.
And does it.
Sorry. Hey, I think this one heals. Oh, I'm sorry. I just covered you in flowers. Sorry.
That's funny. But, yeah, I mean...
Stop me before I get into a champion story.
No, but okay, stop.
Wait, a minute. I have a story that weapons have been used non-traditionally.
Go for it.
I actually had an acrobat thief who actually used his balance skill and tied bastard swords and stood on the cross guards and tied them to his feet, and he used them as stilts.
Oh,
wow. You actually get away with that?
Why not?
Balance checks and dex checks? Absolutely. He's an acrobat. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
Tightrope walk.
Fair enough.
So I was like, okay, it's doable. He's like, okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cross the room that's covered in black pudding, so I'm just going to keep walking. I was like, oh, you sneaky little bastard. I'm going to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's fun is get him into an actual fight like that.
Hiya!
There are wire fu kung fu movies where guys wear stuff like that all the time.
Yes, they are.
I just got done watching The Man with the Iron Fist. Another example of weird-ass, crazy weapons used all kinds of weird ways. Just go for it.
I saw a
number of it anywhere.
I saw a Hong Kong movie called, oh God, I can't remember the name of it. This guy had an aluminum sword, a long sword that would is so thin it would wiggle in the middle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or it would wiggle like that. And that was his style.
Mm-hmm.
And he would cut people, he'd give people like 1 million cuts before he killed them.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
One of the Savior and the Soul, it was called The Savior and the Soul. That's right.
Well, one of my favorite ones as far as improvised weapons went was The Kid with the Golden Arm. It's a classic martial arts movie where the main guy, all he had was just these gold ringlets along both of his arms, and he would use those to disarm people, break weapons, and things like that. You know, that's just a wonderful example. You know, but yeah, I mean, look at any wuxia, wire fu movie going from, oh God, say the early 70s all the way to the modern, especially after 1990, when they started to really get weird. Yeah. You know, you'll see that kind of stuff.
How about shields and sleds?
Oh, yeah.
Willow, hello.
I know.
Two Towers. Hello.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Shields is big sleds. No, they can't be that big. Anyway, yeah, I love doing stuff non-traditionally like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I can think of it.
If you could, it's all about like you said, Glen. It's about timing.
Hey, there are villains that have attack and parry with small child, and they do it all the time. I had a let's see, there was one of the other game systems. It was an Iron Crown Enterprises system where MERP. It wasn't not MERP, but it was Rollmaster. Rollmaster. There it is.
Bastard. Yeah.
Rollmaster. Where basically, if you're successful at anything, you can actually start developing it as a skill. And at one point, we were being hijacked on the high seas by pirates, and they had us drop our weapons, and I dropped my weapon intentionally on my foot. I then used my foot to fling an axe successfully and attack somebody with a thrown great axe from my foot.
Wow.
And then started developing that as a skill.
You know what I start thinking about when I think of that? The third Pirates of the Caribbean movie with the guy underneath, and they just toss them up their swords through that floor at the beginning. Okay, we're armed now. Let's go.
And weird off-kilter ways to either use weapons to actually attack with or get your hands on weapons or get weapons from other people. I mean, acquiring them in the middle of a tumbling maneuver, picking them up, having someone throw you weapons that you didn't have before, beating on people with other people. Fastball Special has been a classic ever since, and it's for a reason.
Yep.
So
since the late 70s, yes.
you know, there's some satisfaction of chopping that ogre's arm off and beating him to death with it. Especially if it's holding a big weapon.
Yeah.
Another reason that this might come into play is, of course, realistic thinking, not trying to be funny. When you put people into situations to let them know that the world is dangerous, when you let them know, guess what? You thought you were fighting this. In fact, you're fighting this. That's where they get into the undead. That's where they get into the lycanthropes. And they find out, how are we going to fight this thing without silver? We got to start coming up with creative uses for the weapons we have, because we don't have any magic and we don't have any silver. How do you fight that vampire? Well, we're going to have to find a way to grapple his ass without letting him touch us and shove him under running water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck with that one.
Or stake him, chop his head off, whatever the hell you have to do. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to put the freaking cockatrice in a sack, put the sack over somebody's head and hold it there until he turns to stone.
Yeah, I had a psionicist that carried around silver plate that he got out of a treasure hoard, and everybody's like, "You're going to sell that?" I'm like, "Nope." Came across some undead or some lycanthropes. Used his psionic ability to graft weapon, grafted that plate onto his hand as he sharpened the edge.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, there you go.
Instant hand axe.
Yep, there you go.
I had a group who had a small house headquarters in the woods. They kept a cockatrice in the basement for holding people, holding like prisoners and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have.
I think that's a little bit of a permanent hold.
Yeah, well, we had a way around it.
Yeah.
Stone to flesh, you know.
Oh yeah.
We'd stone to flesh them, take them to the authorities. You know, you don't have to feed them; they don't go to the bathroom. It's great. Nope. You know.
Yeah.
Could you imagine some guy, some like evil overlord who had like pet cockatrices, and he was taking his villagers and turning them to stone, and then having his masons break the statuary in the yard for mortar for his castle?
Oh man,
that'd be kind of gruesome.
Yeah.
I think I just found my new villain. I'm writing that down.
You let people find out about it by a strangely accidentally miscast a spell magic near one of the castle walls.
Ooh, God, the stink.
Yikes.
Hey, that's how you let people. That's how word gets out, man.
Yeah, don't go there.
What? It's the great way to let things go out.
I suppose.
My God. Okay, you guys got stories. Tell us about it. It's getting a little gruesome in here, so let's go on. THACOShammer@gmail.com and all the other places. Let's go on to Snipe Hunt.
If you only had a living brain.
What do you think? Escaped gorilla?
Listen, you're making enough noise to wake up the dead.
I don't have to wake him up. He's up.
It's time for a Snipe Hunt.
Snipe Hunt. Okay, how are we going to gruesome this up?
Flumps and woozers.
Modrons and flumps. And dire flumps?
Yeah.
Okay, the infamous flump. We all know where they came from.
Not everybody might not know out there.
First edition. Well, actually, even before that. I believe it was in the Dragon or Strategic. We just did a Strategic Review show inside. So I may be way back there. I'm thinking that, first edition Monster Manual or Fiend Folio?
Fiend Folio, page 39.
Yep. Thank you. Second edition Fiend Folio Appendix Monstrous Manual, right?
Monster Compendium Annual, Volume 2.
Yep. Yeah, they finally got around to putting it in. When they did
page 58.
Yeah. And of course, I'm using the Monsters Compendium for convenience, but yeah. I mean, the Flump has been around for the longest time, and the funny part about this monster, even though it looks weird because it looks like, like they say, an aerial jellyfish, but there's a Dragon Magazine article where the author actually did the ecology of the Flump.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, the best part, aside from the fact that the guy knows his stuff and he can actually make a plausible ecology for such an unusual monster, but the best part about it was the stories he would write in regard to the monsters. There was this group called the Monster Hunters, believe it or not, and they were just some of the most just ridiculous, over the top, just selfish and borderline incompetent adventurers you could ever find, but they always were going after these unusual monsters for research or to get parts for them for a wizard or whatever, and they would always end up failing horribly. Also in a very funny manner, but they would always fail their quests. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. And Modrons are where?
Modrons are Outer Planes.
Planescape, Monster Supplement, page 16, from the box set of the campaign setting. That is where they were reprinted for your 2E wonderfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is a Modron?
They are planar creatures that come from the plane of Mechanus.
Mm-hmm.
They're weird looking.
Yeah.
They are the polyhedrals.
Yes.
With legs and eyes and wings.
Okay, yes. I saw those first edition, yes.
Yep, they're in the Monster Manual too.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Going from the Monodrone all the way up to the Primus, which is the god of the Modrons.
Would that be a dodecahedron Modron?
So they're
I
like,
forget what he
they're
is.
like dice monsters.
Yeah, they're dice monsters.
More or less.
They're kind of funny, so I figured they counted. They're funny.
They are.
Yeah.
What can they do? I mean, what can they do to you?
Well,
they are all telepathic. They have elite Modrons who have the power. Regular Modrons are not affected by illusion or things that affect the mind, so you can't beguile them, charm them, dominate them, hold them, hypnotize them, or sleep them. Fear and other emotion spells are ineffective. They're all like Vulcans. They have spell-like abilities once per round at will: Clairaudience, Clairvoyance, Command, Dimension Door, Teleport Without Error, and Wall of Force. They are capable of traveling the astral and ethereal planes, but don't do so unless ordered by the Primus.
Mm-hmm.
They are the strange creatures of absolute order who logically drive the wheels and gears of the plane of Mechanus. They are the property of them, and they function very strictly by caste and rank.
Mm-hmm.
And they do still have, the wild, rare rebels or the rogue units who are broken in one form or another or have been cast out and are still able to exert their will and their powers elsewhere.
Right.
The land of misfit toys.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and the thing about the Modrons, as you go further along in rank, of course, the shape changes. Like the Monodrone, which is the most common, is a sphere. Duodrone, I believe, is a square. No, the Quadrone is a square. Yeah, thank you, rectangle. Tridrone is a triangle. Quadrone's a square.
4.
Yeah, Pentadrone 5. It just goes all the way up to 13, I think.
Yep.
It goes from like 1 to 13. Then, it goes all the way, then of course the Primus, who is, above and beyond all of this, as of course he's their god and leader. But at the same time, as you go up in hit dice, of course the combat ability goes up. It goes up mathematically, believe it or not, because, a common Monodrone can attack once for like 1d4 or by weapon. but a duo drone attacks twice, tri-drone 3 times, quad-drone 4 times, and so on and so forth up the line. So as you go further on, they are more dangerous and more capable in combat. Going all the way up to the Primus, who is at this point, I'd probably say an intermediate deity at this point.
They stopped going down in attacks after number of attacks 7 is the Septon, number of attacks 10 for the Decadon, and that's as high as it goes. Once they start going into the other things with powers, they get their godlike powers of being, hey, super intelligent godlike creatures.
Yes.
Okay, I was looking at the picture of the Primus in the book there, and it kind of looks like a mental beholder attached to a base with a big old mouth in the middle.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Of course, being in Mechanus, they are all lawful neutral in alignment. Especially they are a strict caste-oriented society. Right. And the other thing that should be mentioned about the Modrons is the adventure. I can't remember if it was published or if it was in a Dragon or a Dungeon, but the Great Modron March. Okay. And I think that's a Planescape adventure actually, where every so often, I forget exactly how many times it happens, but every once in a great while, the Modrons just go on a march. And this is how the players interact with the Modrons and things like that. And I forget exactly. I should have read up on it. I'm
like the Million Modron March?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. Are they useful in the game? Anybody use them or anything like that?
I've never used them. I always thought when I had the Monster Manual 2 back when I was still playing 1E, I always thought it was interesting to see, and interesting to look at, but at the same time, how should I put this? A nightmare.
It was a bit from Tron.
Okay.
Yes.
No. For me,
No.
Yeah, for me, they are what I call situational monsters.
Yeah, definitely.
They're cool to look at. They're interesting, but if you're not planescaping and you're not on the plane of law or the plane of Mechanicus, you're not going to see them. No. Rarely do they come to prime material. It's kind of like dinosaurs. They're situational monsters. Underwater creatures like the aboleth, situational creatures.
Yeah.
I have never used them, but I have used the Flumph, and I've seen some pretty strange abuse done to the Flumph.
Like what?
Vampiric Flumph?
Impaling one of them on a spear and using him as a spare tire for the wagon.
Wow.
Improvised shield. Just abuses like, hey, this creature doesn't do much. Oh, okay, well, it just squirted me with sand gland. Well, you're the Battle Rager. Nobody freaking cares what you smell like, and no one wants to be near the 100 feet of you anyways. Okay, cool. I'm going to grab 2 of them, and I'm going to start swinging them around.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay, you're up front. Way up front. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they fly and they have tentacles. You could make hentai out of Flumps pretty easily.
Yeah. No, you can't because they're lawful good. They don't do that kind of thing.
Wouldn't want to.
they're like the medieval precursor to the flying spaghetti monster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the funny part is I forget exactly why, but it's one of these things where whenever there was a Flumph used, that the party, for whatever reason, they had to kill it. And, of course, the thing is more than capable of defending itself. Never mind, the monastic Flumps, which are just much more powerful. Because you've got, monks, priors, and abbots who use spells.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of these things where it's an unusual monster. I think most DMs I've ever seen use one have used it as comedy relief because they fly around and, it sounds more like a Jetson mobile when they're.
I was going to say, do they talk?
Mm-hmm.
They have a limited language, but
based on sounds, tentacle position, and eye stalk movement.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, and maybe 10%, and the monastic Flumps, maybe 10% of them can speak or understand. Monastic.
Okay.
As in, they are.
They have spellcasters. They are clerics.
As
Yes,
in they worship something.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Gond.
Cuckoo. I could have real fun with a kind of a planar incursion adventure where a couple of Modrons get cut off from a canis and dumped into the Prime, and the local wildlife that they first encounter happens to be flumps, which are the most ultimately non-conformist form of creature that could possibly be, so of course they would go into conflict with them immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind, they're both awful linemen. Or at least
That
until...
doesn't mean they wouldn't be in conflict with each other.
I agree. I'm just saying until, somehow some method of communication was established.
Even if communication was established, they would be so alien in thought to each other that they would be in direct conflict unless you could find a way to get them to not see eye to eye, but at least meet their individual needs separately. They would still be driven into conflict with each other.
If I could shrink Modrons down, I could totally do like a campaign storyline where like people are about to get kicked out of like their boarding home, and a whole bunch of like Modrons come and they start repairing the home. Oh wait, that was a movie. What was that called? With those little alien spaceships that came down.
In the attic.
Batteries not included?
Batteries not included. That's what they remind me of.
Wow.
You could do both of those, and you could still now throw them in with Tinker Gnomes.
Oh God!
Have a bunch of Modrons infest a Tinker Gnome enclave.
Oh God!
Ooh.
No!
They're building work.
No! One or two Modrons in a actual Tinker Gnome Warren, and they're trying like hell to get to want to dissect them. And it's the party's mission to get them out of there before they end up being dissected.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you know that those friggin' crazy mages would love to send people on quests to go catch some for experiments, or study.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also, I could see that same mage sending a party to try and capture a flump. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. There was one more monster I wanted to talk about, but I can't seem to find it. I don't know if it's in 2E or 1E, but I've seen the picture in one of the 1E monster books. I don't know which one. It looked like a hippo man with wings flying.
Hippo.
Well, I know that there's a hippo man, but those are gifts.
Yeah, that's a gift.
No, there's
hippo with wings.
Hippo man with wings. That does sound familiar, but I can't place it.
Everybody out there listening, all you listeners, Kojo and your vast army of Gamer Nation.
Sounds like a Hordling variant of some kind.
It could be. I can't remember what the hell it was. It's one of those goofy Errol Otis pictures in there. I think it's maybe in the first 1E Monster Man. I didn't know if it went over to 2E. Anyway,
any of you listeners who know what that is, write in and let us know.
Let us know.
Thanks.
Yeah, because it's not ringing a bell here.
Or just tell us about your Flump and Modron experiences. THACOShammer@gmail.com. What's the number again?
1-405-806-0555.
And we almost get a sex line number there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not your sex line.
976 roll dice.
Nerd hot. Yeah, okay.
Oh, God. On that
35
note,
gold pieces per minute. 35 gold pieces per additional minute.
Oh, God. Call now. All right, let's close this flat book.
Yes, let's. Before we get kicked off iTunes or something.
Yeah, okay. Say goodnight, Corey.
Good night, folks. Keep them dice rolling.
And, Vaughn?
Later, Gamer Nation. We will catch you around. Watch out for us.
Okay, Mr. Millo. Brian?
And just remember, folks, don't try. It's really hard to do, but once you turn a flump over onto its lead surface, it's helpless. But it's really hard to do. Just remember.
That's true. That's true. And I am DM Glenn, Mr. Yuck here. Say we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye.
Ooh, wearing flumps strapped to both feet like ninja water walking shoes, except to use them for air walking shoes. That would totally work.
If you could... says no.
I'm
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the Second Edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.